Hi everybody, Josh from Tough Call here, and today I'll be talking about the Evgeny Malkin stick swinging incident. And I guess looking at the NHL's Department of Player Safety and the question of should they or shouldn't they. So looking at this, you probably find yourself in one of two camps. Did Malkin make contact with his stick, or any meaningful contact, or not? And if you are in camp one where you think that matters, then it's safe to assume that you think if there was no contact at all or harmless contact, then there shouldn't be any suspension. That's how they treat most headshots, right? They study the film, they try and take a look and see if the head was contacted in any meaningful way, and then they decide whether or not to suspend based on that action. So, should this be treated the same way? Does the stick hit the shoulder first? Does it slide up? Does it graze the head or make solid contact? Does any of that matter to you? It matters in headshots and it matters in regular high sticks as well. No matter how hard you swing a stick, if you don't make any contact at all, then there really isn't any penalty or anything to worry about. So by normal standards, this is actually less damaging than many other high sticks we see all the time. Comparable recently is the James Neal high stick, where he actually lost a few teeth. And this high stick doesn't compare to anywhere near meaningful contact to that. So by that standard, and by most high sticking standards, this is a 2-minute penalty at best, if it's even that. So if you're looking at whether or not contact happened, then you're definitely in the part where you're saying there should be 0 suspension for this. Now, that's camp 1. If you look at camp 2, then you're saying that, looking at this, Malkin got a match penalty, not a minor penalty. So it's obviously treated differently than any other high stick. So you're looking at now the question of intent. As far as Department of Player Safety goes, it's important to note that they aren't acting because they want to. They're acting because they have to, because it was a match penalty. So now they have no choice but to look at it. So whether they want to be involved or not, the Department of Player has to make some sort of decision. And again, if you're in camp 2 and you're saying that contact has nothing to do with it, intent should matter. And so what we see here, we see Malkin cross-checked, we see him punched in the back of the head, being held up, and we see him turn around and swing his stick. And that's a reasonable assumption to assume that's why he swung the stick. But intent is now, you're looked at like an opinion. I could easily say that Malkin could have done real damage had he wanted to. He could have turned around and swung with 2 hands on his stick. He could have turned around and grabbed him and pummeled him. He could have turned around and really swung that stick super hard, but he didn't. He just did a light little swing. Do we know if he even meant to hit him or not? We can't say that. He didn't hit him. So are we to give him the benefit of the doubt that he could have hit him and chose not to, or chose to only hit him lightly? Or are we saying, you know what? You swung your stick, you take your chances, it was dangerous no matter what. Well, if we go back to that, then, we have to look at the James Van Riemsdyk recent stick swinging incident, where he caught Martinez square in the nose. Like, it was blatant, direct contact, and that drew a $5,000 fine. So, how can we say that his intent was any less meaningful? And he actually made solid contact, and he only got a $5,000 fine. So how are we to judge Malkin based on that? The other thing is, how can we say that Malkin was intending to, even if he was intending to swing his stick, it's safe to say he meant to. If he had swung down and hit him low in the pants or the leg, nobody would even care. Nobody would even be talking about this. It's just because the stick was swung high in the air and created the potential for head contact. But that's not how they look at any other head contact. Like I said, if they'd hit it, they give players the benefit of the doubt all the time. So if a player is leaned in with the shoulder and he hits the shoulder first and it rides up into the head, then we assume no matter what that player did that he meant to hit him in the shoulder. So is it fair to Malkin to say that he intended to hit Raffle any other way than what he hit him? I think maybe it is. I don't know that we can say whether he meant to or not, but he certainly created the potential for a serious injury. But that is where we compare to another situation that also recently happened in the NHL. Leon Draisaitl, he slashed Barclay from Philadelphia, or sorry, from San Jose, in the back of the leg. Very, very light tap on the calf. And Barclay decides to chase Draisaitl all the way back to his bench and cross-check him high in the shoulder and the neck area. And so we're looking at these two plays, and we're saying that, you know, Barclay got a slash, and he went and cross-checked Draisaitl in what could potentially have been a cross-check to the head. And we're giving him the benefit of the doubt that because he hit him in the shoulder first and the stick slid up into the neck area, that we're saying what he meant to do was hit him in the shoulder. And we're also saying that that slash on the back of the leg, you know, I tweeted about that, and I had people say to me, well, you don't want to get cross-checked? Don't slash. It's that simple. Now we're looking at Malkin, and we're saying, you know, it doesn't matter that he got punched in the head first. Doesn't matter at all. He can't swing his stick that way. That's just, it's too much. So why in one case is the minor action before justifiable cause for the reaction, and in the other case it is not? I don't know. I don't know how we look at that, but I can say that there's a little bit of hypocrisy there. There's a double standard. I just have some notes here. So it's not going to be the lack of suspension here or the length of suspension that bothers me. Either way, if they suspend or don't, it's not going to be what bothers me. It's the logic behind the decisions based on some of the things I just said. The way that they approach these incidents just invites and enables the consistency that we have day in and day out with player safety. So another comparable for that, I guess, would be the hit by Cole on Kuznetsov recently and Tom Wilson's reaction. Now, Tom Wilson responded. Ian Cole made a questionable hit to Kuznetsov's head, and Tom Wilson responded by grabbing Cole and thrashing him. And, you know, everybody, the overwhelming consensus is that Tom Wilson was absolutely right to go after Cole. You can't do that to a star, and a lot of people are saying that Tom Wilson was justified in beating Ian Cole to a pulp, even if that hit was clean. And of course, player safety didn't suspend Cole, so we can only assume that they thought either it was clean or only worthy of the penalty that he got. So there was no need to do any extra. So really, the reaction of Cole, he jumped Cole and he threw punches for a full 20 seconds uninterrupted, with nobody jumping in. And even when Cole lost his helmet and was clearly unable to defend himself, Wilson kept going. And we think that's great. We think that's awesome. Everybody's applauding him. He's a hero. But what caused more intent to injure? Who looks like, if you're going to judge it by intent, who looked like they were intending to hurt someone more? Evgeny Malkin with his little stick swing, or Tom Wilson with his just absolute thrashing and holding a guy up and punching him over and over and over and over again? So I think there's a bit of a double standard there too. Why in one case is a hit that's not even determined to be dirty by anybody, why is that justifiable cause for somebody to grab somebody and throw fists at them over and over again intentionally, and this punch to the back of the head, which is clearly indisputably intentional, why is that not just cause to give a little swing? I don't know. In the court of public opinion, though, I can tell you that people are really happy about Tom Wilson, and people are okay with what Barclay did, but they're certainly not okay with Malkin. They think they need to throw the book at him. I'm not going to even compare this for precedent to the Johansson stick swinging, or the Keith, or say the Nyquist, or the Chiarelli, even the Chiarelli butt end to Perry a couple years ago. Like, I do have thoughts on that, and I'm not going to say how this relates. But what I am going to say is that when you have an NHL that allows players to routinely extend and explode into hits all the time, and with their feet barely touching the ice anymore, they extend so high up into the hit that it can't help but have head contact, but we say, oh, their feet didn't leave the ice, or things like that. We study over and over again the film. Did it hit the shoulder first? Did it not? That's how we judge intent normally. So in this, we're going to just say that because he swung his stick, that is alone cause enough to suspend Malkin for 5 games or more, even though we're only assuming intent based on what we saw. I have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with the suspension. I have a problem with the hypocrisy in terms of the thought process and the logic that goes into these decisions. And until they can sort that out, they are going to have a world of problems, and these incidents are going to continue to happen because players don't know what's wrong and what's right.